Hello, this is Christian. In this video, we're going to update the navigation menu in our Angular application. In the previous video, we pretty much like hard coded these menus into the template, like you see here. Okay, so we are now going to update this portion in the yellow box here to use in the ngFor directive to loop through an object that contains this data. So I'm thinking that a data will have at least like three properties. One will be for the URL, okay, and then one for the actual text being displayed here. And I mentioned in my note here that for the active, for the current page that you are in, you should display this active class. And what it does is basically it highlights this menu on the dock screen, on the dock navigation menu. So it highlights that so you know exactly where you are. It's like right here. So the active menu is now home. If you navigate to the about, then this should be highlighted and the rest should be kind of like grayed out. So that is what we're going to be doing. And I have an example here of what the three properties could be used for that as well. Use the ngFor to loop through the entire list. The ngIf is used to check the active state of each of these menus. And if it is active, if it's true, then we, highlight that and so on. Okay, so let's go into the code and see how this is done. Also here we did in the previous video, we kind of added tab nav menu here. I'm going to remove that. That was just a demo I showed you how to quickly navigate, use the CLI to generate a component. All right, so here in Angular, I'm going to go to Angular src and the app folder. We're going to open, well, I'm going to remove this first. Okay, the top nav, just delete that. And we don't need that anymore. Hopefully it removes it from the app module. It didn't, so I have to manually remove all of these here. And we don't need that here either. Okay, so I can save this file in the component HTML. I think the very top, you don't need this either. Okay, we just need the app nav. All right, well, that's good to go. This part here is good to go. We're not going to touch this one here. We're basically just going to update the nav menu here. So the component HTML and the nav components. Okay, so in here, we're going to create an object. We'll just call it nav items or nav data, whatever you want to call it, that's fine. And here is going to be a list of items or menus, right? Maybe nav menus would make more sense. Yeah, let's change that. I guess. Now, the first one, I'll use the URL to display the URL. The second will be the actual text. This will be home, and then the active state. So the first one will be true by default. Okay. And just to make this a little bit faster, put your cursor on the line you want to duplicate, press the Alt-Shift. I'm using Visual Studio Code, and press the up or down arrow key, and that should duplicate that line for you. And then when I change this, and this, and this, so basically click on it, you press the Alt key, and you click other locations, double click on it, and you can, change it all at once. Okay, all those will be false. This one is going to go to the about page. This is the flights, and this is just going to be add. So we'll say add flight this, and then about. Okay, so for now we'll leave the menus here. If it gets really cluttered, then usually you will move that out to another file and then we import that in. That might be the better solution, but for now this is just 4 items, so it's not too bad. All right, so let's save this. So this is already available in the template. So let's go to the nav component, HTML, and then we're going to iterate through these 4 LIs here. Okay, notice they're all the same except the active and this span tag. So that means I don't really need this. Okay, this is all duplicates. We delete those, and we just have to deal with this one piece here. And now you can't, usually if you don't have to deal with the nav item, the active item here, then you can put the ngFor directly on this tag, and then this whole tag will be, generated for you. But since we need to check to make sure this is also active or not and use it, turn on and off, then we can't really put it here because we also need to use the ngIf, and you cannot put ngIf and ngFor on the same tag. Okay, so what you're going to do is out here you're going to wrap this whole thing with one of the ng containers component. No, it'll be a container in this case. Okay, container is just like a container. It contains some content, and we can use this to wrap uncertain content. If you don't use container, you have to use like a span tag or other tag to wrap the whole thing. And since this is inside a UL, we don't want to put anything between it. It doesn't make sense, right? So it has to be an empty container, and ng container is perfect for this scenario. The ng template is not, it could be used, but in this case, it's not a good idea for that because ng template would not be rendered. It's like the fragment. It's not rendered until you actually add it to the DOM, and to add it to a DOM, you will use ngIf to make it true and things like that. So it doesn't work for ngFor, by the way. So I'm going to say let's start ngFor equal, and I'm going to say let menu of nav menus. Okay, for every menu in the nav menus, then we're going to loop through this whole thing and display them, right? So for now, if I just leave as is, all of these should be active and they'll hold the same. But let's just change this for now. The navigation link will be menu.url. This is the actual text. So that would be menu.text. And that's it for this one. Let's save that. I'm just going to run my application first. And it should print out the menus like we've seen, except that they're going to be all active. And we don't want that, but well, just make sure it works first. All right, it's building up. Hopefully there are no errors. Okay, we're good to go. Let's go back to the browser and refresh. Yeah, if there are no errors, it should still be the same as before, right? You see that now it's all the same color, same intensity. It's all highlighted actually. If you go to press F12 and the console, no errors, good. If you go to element, and if you click here and point to one of these, you see that the whole menus items are all active, and they all have the span tag in there. Okay, so now we just want to filter this out, and only the current page, the current matching URL should be highlighted. All right, so let's go and do that in the code. I can close this now, leave this running. I can close the terminal. And so this menu here, this active menu here, or class here, will only be on if the active is active, right? So the easiest way here is you can choose, the ngIf. Okay, so ngIf will be a perfect one for this one here. You can say you can do right in here. You can say something like this. So I want to wrap it inside here, like this. So I'll say if the menu.active is true. If that is true, then go ahead and show this menu, right? So you can use that conditional operator. Show the menu like that. Yeah, I'm just using a conditional. Actually, I'm not using ngIf. ngIf, I'll use it down here. So if this is active, then show this. If it's not active, then show nothing like that, right? So add blank to it, otherwise add the active menu to it. Now this part is just as a tag. Okay, I'm not showing the tag here. I'm just showing the text only. So I'm using the Elvis operator, the condition operator here. This one I'm going to show the tag, so I'll use ngFor. I mean the ngIf. So ngIf show this tag if sorry, the quotes, if the menu is active. That's what it means. Okay, you just do that, or you can say equals true. It doesn't matter, but this is already, it's a true default falsy value, so ng active, that means it's true by default. If it's true, then only that time render the span tag. Otherwise, don't, right? Hide it. So let's save that and go to our menu again, and you see that now it's been re-rendered, and you see this already working correctly. Now if I go to the flight, okay, it doesn't stay because the link doesn't stick yet. And we'll deal with that later when we learn about routing, so that your page will stick. Once it sticks, then the URL will stay as is, and then this will be highlighted in the navigation. And we'll also do another little bit coding to make that work. But there you go, no errors in the console, hopefully. If there is, then we just need to make something here. Yeah, it just says we don't have the flight navigation. That's why it shows up here. But if you clear it and you refresh it, go to the home page, and if you load it, and as you can see, there's no errors. So we are good to go. And just to verify, you can go and select one of these. It should not show the active. The home is active here, and it shows the SR only. This is for a screen reader, by the way. So you won't see it here unless you have a screen reader. Then it will put that there. And then these are all inactive at the moment, so you don't see them here. All right, so that is all we need to do here, and we're good here. So if you have any questions, again, please let me know.